Guys, and welcome to this Invar Technologies Podcast, a podcast where we interview top-level executives inside leading and growing companies in the food and beverage space. We're excited to have our guest today, Fernando Gomez. We'll be diving into his story, a little bit about the company, and some engaging insights into the industry as well. So I'll go ahead and just kick it off to you, Fernando. If you could just, introduce yourself and tell a little quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Wowona Frozen Foods.
Sure. Hey, thanks for having me here. A little bit about me. Wowona Frozen Foods is an ag manufacturing. I started really my life in ag. I'm an immigrant from Mexico, where my parents came, and they dove right into the ag industry. So I sort of was raised in the ag industry. After growing up, I went to engineering school, thinking I wanted to sort of set myself apart from this world and be behind a desk crunching out numbers, doing calculations all day long. But I was drove right back into the food industry. Started with Frito Lay, doing some of their engineering for their Frito Lay manufacturing, all the chips manufacturing. Drove on to drive an almond processing company, just harvesting to processing, getting almonds out there to the market. And I made my way here to Wowona Frozen Foods, where I'm again in the ag industry, harvesting, processing them. A little bit different because we freeze them, but it's still food manufacturing. It's an interesting world to feed the country here.
Definitely. And what was it that you really do you think really brought you back to the to the food manufacturer, the food world? What was it that you just obviously you went to school for engineering? What was it about the industry that you said, what, I just gotta go back inside?
Sheer luck, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I did an internship with Frito Lay initially, and it was kind of getting my foot in the door. What do engineers really do? And I fell in love with just transforming businesses and improving this process, working with people. I guess I thought I was an introvert, but I'm not. And once I started working with people, I really enjoyed really changing cultures and changing processes.
That's awesome. I always love to see how people get into the industry, right? Sometimes it's just like, to your point, it's just out of timing, right? It's just like you're just at the right time, right place, right time, and then boom, it was just like, it just made sense, and from there it kind of just took off, right? So that's awesome. It's always it's funny to hear you say that you thought you were an introvert, because that was the same way I did. I thought I was an introvert. I grew up in the restaurant business, and then being in the restaurant business, you're forced to talk to people. And then I became more of a person that now I enjoy speaking to people. It's kind of one of my passions. And, it's crazy how you'll develop over time as well. On that point, obviously, you've been inside of the food world for a little bit. You've kind of seen probably some trends and the ebbs and flows of how things have moved over the years. What are the current trends that you're currently noticing, in the food manufacturing industry as of right now?
I think in manufacturing as a whole, the trend really is digital world, automation, and really reducing labor. I mean, we're competing with world markets that at our labor rate, it's hard for us to compete with anything coming into the country, or really just competing with ourselves. And labor drives the biggest cost in manufacturing. So the biggest trends are digitalizing how we do it, automating, really increasing throughput through automation, and reducing the dependency on high labor.
Got it. And why don't you tell the audience, because if the audience doesn't know, what are the main products that Wowona Frozen Food really offers?
We offer a variety of just frozen fruits. Most of our customers are business to business, so we offer commodities to the General Mills, Cereals, Lee's of the world, for them to use our fruits and put them into pies or cereals or whatever they need to put them on. The benefit with frozen fruits is that we're able to capture fruit at the peak ripeness, and it really provides a good commodity for not only consumers, because you can buy our product at the store, but also for manufacturers to reuse our product and be safe for be a better quality than otherwise buying fresh fruit or even dried fruit.
Yeah. You touched on a little bit right there, kind of the differentiator, right, between you and some other similar companies. What if you had to maybe pinpoint a couple of points? What would you say really the unique value of Wowona Frozen Foods products really bring to your customers?
Well, I mean, the value of frozen fruit is huge, and I'm not sure if we do a great job communicating this to the customers, but just think about the waste that people experience in buying fresh produce. I mean, open your fridge and you'll probably find some produce that is being ready to be dumped away. Once you freeze a fruit, you're really not wasting any of the fruit. And we do our best to capture 100% of the fruit as we can. So although we have to slice it, and there is some byproducts that come out of it, what we do with all those byproducts are convert them to purees for juices or other commodities. So we're really capturing as close to 100% of the fruit as we can. And we don't have the waste that we see kind of around the world with so much waste. But other than that, it's the health benefits. We are able to freeze fruit at its peak ripeness. And really what that does is it gives you not only a good tasting fruit, it gives you a good health value. You're able to capture the enzymes right at the peak stage, and you don't have the chemical breakdown that you have with other fruits. Uh, just and what I'm saying by that is once the fruit reaches ripeness, it starts deteriorating, and the chemical breakdown actually loses some of the health value that fruits brings to folks that consume fruit. So we're able to capture that right at its peak ripeness and provide that to customers.
Yeah, and that's a great point you bring up, right? Because I think a lot of times people don't even realize you know, one of my brother's really a fanatic when it comes to like anti-aging and like learning about fruits and different vegetables. So he kind of often educates me on once to your point, fruit goes ripe and it goes overripe, it starts to actually become less beneficial for you, right? And so
Correct.
even that point right there, I could definitely see the value in sense of frozen fruits, right? To be able to conserve those chemicals that are needed to obviously give us the proper nutrients. So I love that you bring that up. I did want to segue a little bit into a little bit that we were talking about earlier. We were talking about the trends and the automation and technology inside the manufacturing industry. And I wanted to ask you directly because I know you have your hands on a lot of things, and you're obviously moving the operation side of things, and having technology playing with that. I wanted to ask you, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges in relationship to technology that you see inside the food manufacturing industry? And you can obviously go manufacturing as whole, or you can keep it in the food manufacturing.
Yeah, unfortunately, the answer is very similar. It's also labor. Um, in integrating technology to any manufacturing also requires higher skill of labor, and we are challenged really with a labor shortage. Not only is labor is expensive and it challenges on the side to implement more technology, but then finding the labor to work on that technology is the most challenging factor of implementing this technology, because there's really a lot of great technology out there. There's great sensors, great robotics, great automation that can really make manufacture very efficient, uh, very low labor, manual labor. But then finding the technicians to work on that equipment and maintaining it day in and day out, that's the biggest challenge. And you know, sometimes it's difficult for folks to understand that equipment just breaks down. It's not your vehicle, right? This equipment, when it runs 365 days a week, 24 hours a day, it can't handle it. So you need technicians to be jumping in there and fixing it, and finding that labor to do that. It's probably the biggest challenge in implementing a lot of technology out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you're not the first person to bring that up, right? We've talked to a couple of people, and they are obviously hammering in on the fact of the shortage of skilled labor, right? And
Yeah.
that is obviously one of the biggest, pain points and challenges I've seen within the industry, talking to a lot of operational executives. And, obviously the follow-up I wanted to ask, I'm curious if it's the same, because, obviously operating and technology can kind of go hand in hand sometimes. But, in operating a food manufacturer, what types of challenges do you really have? Because obviously you're leading the charge in a lot of this. What challenges come up on a day-to-day? And then what have you found really helpful in terms of some advice that you use in order to overcome some of those common pitfalls?
I I, I believe that the the biggest fighter of any challenge is really empowering the people. So the way that you run an organization like this and be successful is really looking internally, looking at your core and changing the culture of the folks. Um, it's You can't run a large organization and be responsible of doing everything that you have to do out there. I mean, it's a house of cards. You can't have that card that falls down and the whole organization breaks down. You need to empower the folks to be able to be out there and be innovative in the way that they handle the problems or resolve the problems and empower them. But it really comes down to changing that culture. So here at Wowona, for example, we've implemented several programs where we were able to you know improve the culture, make them happy to come in, but also uh, bring use their thoughts, their principles, their ideas to improve the process. And this just empowers the folks to take the challenges themselves and fix them. We can't be everywhere at once, but we have plenty of people out there to try to resolve some of those issues and be happy to come to work every day and do what they need to do to improve the process.
Definitely, definitely. I love that. It usually does start with the culture, right? Like in every
Absolutely.
company, because I feel like people often forget that business is just a conglomerate of people, right? Like business is it just showcases all the people in your business, right? Essentially, because that's why there's trends in business, because people change and things change, right? Um, what type of mindset is in your opinion is needed to be a successful VP of operations?
I mean, I think you need to be a leader and understand that everybody's different, and the mindset that you need to take. There's a couple of ways to answer that question. First is I go back to the people and being able to understand that you have to be the right leader for everybody. Um, but that the right leader means that you need to be different for everybody, right? You can't just say I'm going to hang my hat on being a servant leader. You got to be a servant leader to the folks that enjoy to be leaders, to be servant leaders, but you also got to change to the folks that need a little bit more encouragement or need different tactics. So in order to be successful, you got to understand how to lead the folks and get the right team around you. Um, Often that means getting teams that are very different from you, so they could help balance you. Look at things from different perspectives that you don't, and really learn to surround yourself from around people that could do. Um, they are maybe smarter than you and can do things better than you in order to be successful. It's not a one person show, and it's a full organization. It's a full team that leads the organization to success. Um, on the other side of it, I think to be successful, I mean, you just can't take no for an answer. Once you have a goal and objectives, you got to push forward. And once barriers come in, you can't give up. You got to look for solutions and not dwell on other problems. You're gonna have tons of problems coming at you day in and day out. You just got to find solutions and figure out how to make it happen.
Definitely. Did you always have that mindset, or was it something that you developed over time?
I think I always have. I mean, and again, I went to school for engineer. I love solving problems. I take on a whole lot of responsibilities everywhere, and I just feel like there's no such thing as a can't. I mean, can't doesn't exist in my dictionary. We make it happen one way or the other.
Yeah, I definitely. I'll say that it probably is for me. I see it as like an immigrant mentality. We have like that because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like I have very similar mentality, and my parents were both immigrants. I'm sure you're your first immigrant here, but I feel like in some of the older cultures they ingrained that in you, that type of mindset
Yeah.
into you. And it's kind of comes a lot naturally for you because a lot of people don't have that natural mindset that you just touched on right now. That's why I was curious. It's just inbred in some people. So that is fascinating to kind of hear that.
Hmm.
Is there anything that, in the near future, in terms of technologies or systems that you guys are looking to implement right now inside of the business?
We're always changing and growing. I mean, we're implementing OEE right now, so we're kind of integrating systems into a major platform that can tell us a little bit more data. I mean, make better data-driven results. We're in the process of implementing a new ERP system that's going to help us see some of the numbers better, especially from accounting driven down. Um, it's a constant changing, you know, dilemma here to try to improve and look at what's better, what's next. But I believe that from an operations perspective, the OEE system is going to really help us drive some performance and really um, highlight some of the issues. It's funny to me every time you start analyzing data and talk about the 80-20 rule. It's almost always true. It's true in nature and it's true everywhere in operations. If you could just find that 20% and fix it, it's dynamic and incredible the type of results that you get.
Definitely, and it's all about making those. You'll be surprised how many organizations don't make decisions based off of data, right? Instead of emotion. And when you're making decisions based off emotion, that's when your business is going to be led with emotion, right? And so you have to make sure that the decisions that you are making are being made based upon data that you're able to back that up on. And it's so important to make sure that you have a center where you could see all the data, right? Because there's sometimes businesses have so much data, but they don't have it in a way that they can actually understand and interpret it in an easy to use platform. So I think that's, to your point, it's definitely one of the best things for operational teams, right? To have that to look at, be able to go back and forth and analyze what next move they want to make. What is the vision, for yourself and obviously the company within the next 12 months? What's going on? I don't like to go 5 to 12 years or 10 years. I think it's a little bit too far. But the next 12 months, what does that look like?
Well, we're really looking to expand to greater retail. I mean, how do we grow the business and get the fruit to the consumer? Most of our business is business to business transactions where it's ingredient based, but we feel like there's some innovative things that we're working on that could really bring some of the fruit, some of the health benefits directly to the folks. We're looking at different packaging, different products such as acai bowls and things where we could mix different health benefits and bring it directly to the consumer. So here in the near future, what we're looking at is expanding our value-based products and being able to reach the customer directly.
Got it. Well, hey man, it's been awesome getting the chance to kind of talk to you and hear a little bit more about what you guys are doing over at Wowona Frozen Foods. It definitely sounds like something interesting, and I love the passion that you have behind obviously your job and what you guys are building over there. I typically like to end with a final question, and it's more of a loaded question. So
okay.
But it's what are the most important things that you've learned throughout your career? You've done a couple of things, and I always love to get insights from someone that's at your level as well. So what would you say that those are?
I think that the most important thing that I've learned in my career, and it's helping really grow through my career, is to really not turn down any challenges. I think sometimes challenges could deter folks from moving forward, but it highlights your ability to move on. And manufacturing is full of challenges, and every day is completely different. And sometimes you believe that no one is looking at what you're resolving or doing out there, but they're always looking at you. And not turning down a challenge really helps you move up through your career and really expand, in your successes.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that is an integral part of success in anything, is understanding that challenges come with everything, right? There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be pains that you're going to have along the way of the journey, but to understand that every single challenge that you have is a way for you to be able to learn from and develop a skill set and experience from, because at the end of the day, you're always going to have challenges, right?
Right.
You're always going to be facing problems. The problems change over time and they're different problems, but you have to understand that problems don't go away. So it's how do you deal with them? How do you understand them? And how are you able to be, level-headed enough to know that you can tackle any challenge that comes your way, as long as you have the proper team behind you and you have the proper plan, right? So I love that you bring that up. And, Fernando, if people are listening to this, they either want to reach out to yourself or your team, what are the best ways to go about that?
Usually emails are the best way to reach out to me, fernando.gomez@wowona.com.
Thanks again, Fernando, for coming on. We really did appreciate you having on the show, and it was a pleasure getting the chance to obviously talk with you and learn a little bit more about the business. If you guys did watch all the way to the end, we just ask if you can like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you again, Fernando. Take care.
Thank you.